It's gonna be a quick live stream. It's gonna be like it's a video live stream, so it's quick. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I think my bracket is going to be. My March Madness bracket. This is what I think it's going to be, you guys. Tell me if you agree in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe to the KBM Sports Talk family. Join the family. But let's show you guys what I've been thinking. So, we got first matchup Gonzaga versus Georgia State, you guys. I got Gonzaga. That's an easy choice, obviously. Then we have Boise State versus Memphis. I'm going to go back to that one because that one is a tricky one. But next we have UConn versus New Mexico State. I got UConn. Then we have Arkansas versus Vermont. Honestly, you guys, I think this is going to be an upset. I think Vermont's going to pull that off. Vermont's going to pull off that upset that most people aren't going to be talking about. I think Vermont is going to upset Arkansas and move on to the next round to play UConn. And now we have Alabama versus Rutgers or Notre Dame. I honestly think that Bama will make it out of the first round. I don't think they're going to make it out of the second round. And then we have Texas Tech versus Montana State. I think Texas Tech is going to beat Montana State. I think it's going to be a better game than most people are thinking, though. Then we have Michigan State versus Davidson. And I'm going to go with Davidson. I think the 10 is going to beat the 7. And I think that this year the 8-9 and the 7-10 matchups are so good. It's not even going to be funny. I think that these are going to be great games. The 8-9 and the 7-10 matchups are going to be amazing this year. Then we have our last one. We have Duke versus California State Fullerton. Or I didn't mean to click State Fullerton. I meant to click Duke. I have Duke winning that pretty easily. And now I'm going to go back up to the Boise State Memphis game. Honestly, you guys, I think this is such a really good game. This is so close. But I'm going to have to go with Memphis pulling this one off. I think these two teams are so different in a lot of aspects, but they are very similar in some aspects too. So that may be confusing some people, but I just don't know really how to explain it that well. It's just these two teams are really good. And or not really, really good, not like Gonzaga good, but good. And it's gonna be a great game. And now I'm gonna go region by region. So I'm gonna get this region knocked out of the way. So the round of 32, we have Gonzaga. What's up, Amari? We have Gonzaga versus Memphis. I got Gonzaga winning that, moving on to the Sweet 16. Then we have number 5 seed UConn going up against number 13 seed Vermont. UConn, I think, is going to win that. I think Vermont pulls off their upset against Arkansas, but I don't think they make it past UConn. Then we have Alabama versus Texas Tech. Like I said earlier, I think Alabama is going to win their first round, but they're not going to make it out of the round of 32. They're just too inconsistent this year. Then we have Duke versus Davidson. I got Duke winning this one. Think Duke can beat Davidson. Now we go to our Sweet 16, and I have Gonzaga beating UConn, and I have Texas Tech beating Duke. And I believe this is a rematch from last year's finals. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments or in the chat, either or. But I'm going to leave it right here because we're in the Elite 8. So I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to go back to that one because I'm going to save the Elite 8 for last. And then go to the Final 4. So now we go to the South region. I have Arizona beating Wright State or Bryant. Yeah, I got Vermont over Arkansas. I think Arkansas is like Bama. I can see Bama losing that matchup against Rutgers or Notre Dame. I can see them losing. So I feel like the SEC is strong, but I think that they're really inconsistent. Like some of the teams, like the mid teams in the Vermont or in the SEC are very inconsistent. They're up and down all year. Then we have Seton Hall versus TCU. I think Seton Hall is going to pull that one off against TCU in a very close game. Probably going to be those March Madness buzzer beaters in that game, I think. Then we have Houston versus UAB. I think Houston is going to pull that off. Their speed is just unmatched, I think, again, in that matchup. Then we have Illinois versus Chattanooga. I love Chattanooga. Love what they did in the SoCon. But I think that they're going to be a one and done and lose to Illinois. Hard draw for them. But I think it's going to be a closer game than most people are thinking. Then we have Colorado State versus Michigan. I got Colorado State. Don't think Michigan's going to win that. Yeah, you can never trust SEC basketball. Like, they always seem like they're great teams, and then when the tournament comes, they just pan out. And then we have Tennessee versus Longwood. I love Longwood because they did like one of my posts and they did like a message I sent them. So I love Longwood, but they got a bad draw here, going up against one of the hottest teams going into the tournament, which is Tennessee. Got Tennessee winning that. And then we have Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago. I got Loyola Chicago. Obviously, Ohio State is one of the coldest teams coming in, and Loyola looked very good in the Missouri Valley tournament. And then we have Villanova versus Delaware. I got Villanova winning that. They are a really good team. I think that's going to be a really good matchup, them and Delaware. And then we go to the round of 32. I have Arizona beating Seton Hall. And then we have Houston versus Illinois. Honestly, you guys, I got Houston beating Illinois in this. And then we have Colorado State versus Tennessee. I have Tennessee beating Colorado State. Loyola Chicago versus Villanova. If I want to be honest with you guys, I have Nova beating Loyola Chicago. But I can see Loyola Chicago pulling that victory off. But I think Nova is just a little bit too good for Loyola this year. Then we have Arizona versus Houston. I have Arizona winning that. And then I have Tennessee beating Villanova. I think Tennessee is a very, very strong team. And I think Tennessee is going to surprise some people. Now we're going to go to the east side of the bracket, east region. I have Baylor beating Norfolk State right off the bat. And then we have North Carolina versus Marquette. I got North Carolina, you guys. St. Mary's versus Wyoming. I think St. Mary's is going to beat Wyoming or Indiana. UCLA versus Akron, you guys. UCLA, I think, is going to pull it off. Texas versus Virginia Tech. I got Virginia Tech beating Texas. Then we have Purdue versus Yale. I got Yale, you guys. That may surprise some people. Some people may not agree with that, but I have Yale beating Purdue in a major upset that not many people are talking about. Then we have Murray State versus San Francisco. You know I got to go Murray State right here, you guys. Obviously, I have to. I just love Murray State. 2 losses on the year. Damn, that's just crazy. Kentucky versus St. Peter's. Kentucky. I think St. Peter's is going to get under Kentucky's skin. I think it's going to annoy them, but I think Kentucky is just too good for St. Peter's. Now we go to the Baylor versus North Carolina. I think Baylor will beat North Carolina. Then we have St. Mary's versus UCLA. I think UCLA will pull that off. Yale versus Virginia Tech. Yale pulls off that upset that no one's expecting, but I think that their run comes in because Virginia Tech is just too hot right now. Then we have Murray State. Yes, I do. Then I have Murray State versus Kentucky. I think Kentucky is just too good for Murray State. I wish I could say Murray State's going to beat them, but I just don't think Murray State will be beating them. Then we have UCLA versus Baylor. Honestly, I got UCLA, you guys, because UCLA, it seems like when they get in the tournament, like last year, they turn to another gear. And I saw that, yes, they did lose to Arizona in the Pac-12 final, and they gave up. They had a big lead, and they gave it up. But they performed well enough, and I think that Baylor didn't perform well enough in the Big 12 tournament. But UCLA, I think, really did impress me. I think Baylor is going to run into their end against UCLA. Then we have Virginia Tech versus Kentucky. Honestly, you guys, I have Kentucky beating Virginia Tech. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I think Kentucky's going to pull it off. Then we go to the Midwest side of the bracket, you guys. Kansas is going to beat either or. I think Texas Southern just won. Kansas is going to beat Texas Southern. I think they're going to beat them pretty handily. Then we have San Diego State versus Creighton. I have Creighton beating San Diego State, and I think that Creighton's actually going to blow San Diego State out of the water. Then we have Iowa versus Richmond. I got Iowa. Then we have Providence versus South Dakota State. Ain't no one talking about this one, you guys. South Dakota State, I think, is going to beat Providence. South Dakota State is going to beat Providence in a major upset. South Dakota State, they're a team that's under the radar at the Summit League. They are very, very good that most people need to start paying attention to and look up and look at South Dakota State as a real contender to pull off a lot of upsets this year in this tournament. Then we have LSU versus Iowa State. This one, I'm going to go back to, you guys. I'm going to go back to that one because I have to think right now, like, these 3 games I'm going to think as I'm going through these. But then I have Wisconsin beating Colgate. Pretty obvious. Wisconsin's pretty damn good. Then we have USC versus Miami. Miami, I think, is going to beat USC. And Providence, I think Providence is a great team. But I did see some stuff that they struggled with when they were playing in the Big East. And South Dakota State is a team that plays that can adapt to a style to beat a team very, very well. And South Dakota State, I think, is going to beat Providence. I think it's going to be a big upset, and most people aren't going to be thinking about that. And then we have Auburn versus Jacksonville State. I got Auburn winning that, and it's going to be a pretty good game. Because Auburn did not impress me in the SEC tournament. They shit the bed, honestly, if we're going to be honest. Then we go back to this LSU-Iowa State game, you guys. Such a hard game to go with because LSU, it looked really good. Iowa State looked pretty good in the Big 12. But I just got to go with LSU in this. I think that LSU is a good team, but I will not be surprised if Iowa State pulls that victory out. I will not be surprised, you guys, if that happens. And then we go to Kansas versus Creighton. Kansas, I think, is going to beat them. Then we go to Iowa versus South Dakota State. Iowa impressed me in the Big Ten tournament, so I think Iowa is going to beat South Dakota State. And then we have LSU versus Wisconsin. Think Wisconsin can pull it off, but I think that LSU may give them a run for their money. I think that's going to be a really close game. Then we have Miami versus Auburn. I think Auburn will win that. Pretty close game, though. I think that's going to be a really close game. Then we have Kansas versus Iowa. I got Kansas winning that, beating Iowa and moving on to the Elite Eight. And then we have Wisconsin versus Auburn. I got Wisconsin beating Auburn. Auburn did not impress me. I think Wisconsin is a team that can upset Auburn. And they have the pieces. They can. Then we go to our Elite Eight. I'm going to go back to the top for this. We're going to go with the West region first, you guys. Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. A rematch from last year. And I want to say Texas Tech so bad, but I just think Gonzaga's tandem duo with Timmy and Chet is just going to be a little bit too good for Texas Tech. So I'd say Gonzaga moves on to the Final Four. Then we have Arizona versus Tennessee. I honestly think Tennessee is going to beat Arizona and move on to the finals, or move on to the Final Four. When we come back down, we have UCLA versus Kentucky. I think it's going to be a really good game. But I have Kentucky beating UCLA and going on to the Final Four to play against Gonzaga. Then we have Kansas versus Wisconsin. I have Kansas beating Wisconsin and going to the Final Four. So our Final Four is set. We have Gonzaga versus Kentucky, Tennessee versus Kansas. Wow. This is going to be a great Final Four if this actually happens. I hope it does, because this is an awesome Final Four. 2 SEC teams. This is like the college football playoffs. Wow, never expected that. But I'm going to go, we have Gonzaga versus Kentucky on April 2nd. And in the Final Four, I think Kentucky is going to upset Gonzaga. I think that's what's going to happen. I know that's going to happen. That's what I'm going to say that right now. I believe that is what's going to happen. I think Gonzaga's run in the finals is going to be done. We hope so. Then we have Tennessee versus Kansas. Who will go play Kentucky? And I honestly think that Kansas is going to beat Tennessee and move on to play Kentucky in the finals. We have Kentucky, 2-seed Kentucky coming out of the East region. And we have Kansas coming out of the Midwest region. In the finals, who do I have? Do I want to go with the Wildcats or the Jayhawks? I got to go with Kansas, you guys. I think as the narrative has been Kansas is going to lose. They have this thing of they have a great team, but they lose. They lose. I got Kansas winning it, you guys, because I think this year they're going to end that narrative of them losing every single year when they expected to win. So I think that this team is out to prove something. I think we all saw that in the Big 12 tournament. They impressed me well enough, and I think that Kansas is going to win it all just because of the simple fact of I honestly think Kansas is sick and tired of it. And we're going to be honest, Kansas is a very well-around team like that no one's really talking about. they've been under the radar throughout the season. Nobody's really been talking about them. Kansas is really good. And I guess I'll do the tie-breaking score. I'm going to go with 63 to 61. Let's go like that. 2-point game. But that is my bracket. Kansas beating Kentucky in the finals, and our Final Four would be Gonzaga versus Kentucky, and we have Tennessee versus Kansas. That is my prediction. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and also we have one word from our sponsor, Amplified Landscaping. Amplified Landscaping is a small landscaping business out of South Hadley, Massachusetts. They specialize in routine maintenance such as mowing services, spring and fall cleanups, bush trimming, and more. To mulch and rock installations, lawn renovations, and more, you guys. Amplified Landscaping is also hiring at an entry level or an experienced landscaper. If you have a good work ethic and want to turn landscaping job into a career, go to amplified-landscaping.biz, link in bio or description, either or, and go to the careers tab, you guys. Fill out the info, hit the submit button, and someone from the team at Amplified will reach out to you. And make sure you guys, if you want services or if you're going for a job at Amplified, say KBM Sports Talk sent you. When you if you are filling it out, your information, when the team contacts you, say KBM Sports Talk sent me, or if you call, because also the number is right there too, if you guys can read it, or it'll be on the website too, if you want services. And let me submit this, you guys, so you know I'm actually doing it. See? Submit it. We did it. And make sure you guys go and follow. Let me go like this, you guys. If you are watching this, go join my my group on the tournament challenge on ESPN. We already have a good amount of people on here. And make sure you guys go on there and do it, because it's fun. And I can't wait to see what you guys pick in your games. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, see ya.